Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Wrap Podcast, the place to catch up on all the regional and national rugby in Wales. You can find us on all the usual social media platforms and message us through there if you want, or you can email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. So all the boring stuff out the way, let's talk rugby. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Wrap Podcast with me, Lee G, and joining me as always, we've got a full crew this week, Jamie, Carwin and Reese. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
How's it going?
Good, thank you.
Good. Nice to have everybody back together for a while. And a very special guest this week. Very, very special. We've done a couple of the men's sides, and then we've been trying to do this one for a while. So we're going to have a change of tack this week, and we're going to cover the women's game and everything that's happened in the women's game for this season. And to do that, who else would you invite onto your pod other than Philippa Tuttiett? Good evening, Philippa.
Good evening, guys. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Let's say it's been a fantastic season for the women's game. And, you know, we've all watched and grown, and we've done the Fantasy League, and it's been on telly and all that kind of stuff. So it's this season for women's rugby, when you take it at the start of the season, it's just been an amazing season, hasn't it? It's just been fantastic.
Oh, it's been incredible. And obviously I'm going to talk as much as I can about the Welsh team, but equally you've got to give a nod to all the nations. They've all set record crowds. They've all had, more funding, professional contracts, better performances. So across the board, it's been fantastic. And then we've just got this announcement of a new tournament happening in September, October time, the Women's XV, which is going to be a global international tournament. It's kind of mimicking an Autumn Nations that the men have. Not all the women's nations get to have Autumn Nations. So they've made this tournament. Top 18 teams in the world are going to be playing one another. And Wales are at the top tier of that table. So the top 6 teams in the world, Wales are there. They're going to be playing in September.
That's excellent. I think they already put the group in. So are we playing like New Zealand as well? And
that's yet to be decided, but it's pretty guaranteed. I mean, it's going to be, I put my house on it that it's New Zealand, Australia, Canada, England, France, and us.
Wow.
Like, amazing.
Wow. That's a hell of a bunch of teams to be in with, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, before we get on to that, little bit of admin, let's do a little bit of drink of the week. And Philippa, as our guest, we should say, just so Philippa's going to struggle with drink of the week. Go on, I'll let you explain what you got.
Well, I'm sporting a little accessory in the fact that I had a rotatory cuff operation last Thursday. So I'm currently dosed up with tramadol. So excuse me if I slur. It's not alcohol related. It's painkiller related. So unfortunately, I can't join in the drinking of. However, I did try a drink the other week that I thought would be good for this, because I was away with the Sevens in Toulouse, and we went out for dinner. We went to this lovely restaurant. And I said to my sort of co-worker, I went to the loo and I said, oh, look, if they come around for drinks, I'll just have whatever you're having, right? He's a nice guy. So I'm thinking, we're in the south of France. He's going to order me a nice beer or a nice wine. This will be a winner, right? So I come back to the table and there's this little tumbler of what could only be like fuchsia pink liquid with like a little cocktail umbrella coming out of it. I was like, oh, good God, what is that? Of all the drinks, like... And it was called a sombrero, and it was a cocktail, and it's a tequila cocktail. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. I've never heard of it.
No.
It was stunning. And the age-old saying of never judge a book by its cover, I was more than happy to indulge my little pink tumblers all evening. They were absolutely gorgeous. So if you haven't tried it, anyone, Google it. A sombrero is gorgeous.
It's on the list. It's on the list.
On the show.
Yeah.
So go on, Carl, when you can
okay.
try and match that one.
I'm not sure if I can, to be honest. So I've got a new world lager, Drop Bear Beer Company.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and they're relatively new, and it's run by a couple of girls from Swansea, and it's 0.5% in alcohol, and they only started brewing just before COVID in their bedroom, and now they're turning over a couple of million.
No,
you know, absolutely. And I think they only run sort of 4 beers. And do you know what? This is the lowest I've ever gone on alcohol. I've never drunk non-alcoholic, but this is lovely. And I would recommend it to anyone. So it's called Dropping the Alcohol, Perfecting the Craft. Drop Bear Beer. Have some of that.
That is a great show.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. They've done so well.
So Reese is getting a little bit panicky now. You're going to have to top that one now, Reese.
Well, I after the debacle of just having a Coke on the last session, I thought I might evil it up a bit. So I have got a Coke Zero, but with Kraken rum in it.
With what, sorry?
Kraken rum.
Crack. You want to be careful now, Reese. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, right. That crap. Okay, fine. Yeah. I was a bit worried for a moment there. Sorry.
I know you always wonder about my rugby view.
Yeah. Jamie, what have you got, my friend?
Well, that's a surprise. We got Brewdog beer tonight.
Oh,
I know. And I don't normally drink Brewdog, as you know. I'm a tiny rebel boy. I'm very loyal to them. But it's a brand new beer from Brewdog, and it's a pina colada beer.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
It's called Palm Beach. It's 6.5%. It's the first time I've had it, and pina colada is one of my favorite cocktails. And I gotta be honest, I don't like it at all. I do not like this beer whatsoever. So it's going to be a struggle to get this down me, I'm afraid. Yeah, it's not nice.
Where does it rate, though, on the level of the peanut butter cookie one?
Oh, God, it's better than that.
Oh, it's better than that, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We're not
that was
down
the
at
absolute worst. Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Well,
we'll have to have a league of just Jamie's beers throughout the season.
Jamie's worst beers. Well, I've carried on delving through the back of the drinks cabinet for Christmas stuff. So I've got my skull.
That's a big cabinet.
It's huge. There's stuff in there I have not got a clue about. So that's my skull my skull thing again. And I've found another tequila in there. So that's what I was saying about the hat. See, it's got a little hat on the thing there. See? I'll send it to you after, Reese. So this is a Sierra tequila. But what I did this week is it's got ice cubes made of Coke. Now then.
Hey, mate, you're going up in the world, boy. You're going up in the world.
It was my daughter's thing for the weekend. Can I make ice cubes with Coke? Or I don't know, stick it in and see what happens. It's really nice. And they melt, and it's lovely. So, that's my drink of the week.
The way your drinks of the week are going, you're sounding more and more like a sort of student flat party circa sort of 2000, isn't it?
I found an open bottle of Bacardi when I went looking for that one. This bottle of Bacardi and peach schnapps.
Oh, peach schnapps. Oh, lovely.
God.
I haven't had that for years.
That's next week, mate.
For good reason.
Yeah. Right. Let's talk rugby. Let's start at the beginning. So let's go back to kind of last August was really the start of the season when they played Canada, and was that when we played Canada?
Yeah, for the World Cup warm-up game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played Canada and they played England prior to going to the World Cup. Yeah.
So, what were the expectations kind of then, and like how was the season just progressed since then?
Oh gosh. Well, yeah, that was an interesting one because Canada was a bit of an unknown. And as we then found out, through the World Cup, they were actually one of the standout performers. They came fourth overall, and they're a team that are not very well funded. And as you can imagine how vast Canada is, a bit of a nightmare getting all the players together. So I think when Wales went out there, I think they were maybe feeling a bit more confident than they should have, and they were humbled. They were beaten, and quite convincingly. And then about a week later, they went and played England, and it was over 50-0. So that was a bad one as well. So at that point, going into the World Cup, to be honest, as much as you're thinking, yeah, okay, a couple of the girls have gone professional, you were still, I had to sort of put a lot of perspective into where they were in their journey and what we could be expecting from the World Cup. And sadly, I think the World Cup was a real opportunity, but the professionalism came too late. The professionalism is kicking in now, which is 6 months after the World Cup, which is a shame because the World Cup was one of the biggest we've ever known. The viewing figures were higher than we've ever had, However, so the World Cup was for me, was a part of the journey. Most teams peak at the World Cup. That's the end of their journey. Whereas for Wales, that was very much in the middle of their journey. Whereas I really feel that coming through the Six Nations, they're definitely getting towards the end sort of scale, but there's still definitely so much more room for growth. So in regards to where we were there to where we are now, we're miles away, miles different, which is brilliant. That's what you want.
So what's taken us from there to here then? What's it been? I know we've had professional contracts, but like you say, it takes a while for them to kind of kick in. So what do you think's been the change through this season?
I think actually the experience at the World Cup, as hard as it was to play New Zealand twice, that was a fantastic experience for them, and they learned so much. The only way you're going to find out where you need to be is to play there, to feel it. And sometimes that's really hard to feel it quite off the mark, maybe physically or tactically. But then they had the opportunity to learn from it and grow from it. Now, put that experience, couple that with then them turning the entire squad professional, because last year it was only a handful of them, only a dozen. Whereas now they've got the whole squad in from January, reviewing, learning, practicing, training, on repeat. That definitely was a catalyst to their improvement. But I honestly think, and this sounds such a cliche, but having the belief and support and engagement of more people, you talk about that home advantage, but I think it sometimes gets lost a little bit now. Whereas back in the day, home advantage should be huge. That feeling of the crowd and the people, willing you on and knowing your name, calling your name from the crowd. The women didn't really ever get that. Even fans would mostly be people who knew a relative or a close friend who played. You very rarely had fans coming who had no sort of family connection to a player. Whereas now you've got people standing outside their hotel as they were walking to their home games, screaming their names, and they weren't family or relatives. It was absolutely brilliant. And I think that alone gave them that extra 10-15%, because I think they're a team that's had a bit of a rough ride of it, and a lot of losses and a lot of questions and a lot of different coaches being given a lot of different messages over the year. So I think they are a team that needs a bit of belief and a bit of confidence and a bit of backing. I think that's really what they got. That game against England, the game itself maybe didn't go as well as the girls would have hoped, but the build up to it, the crowds, the choirs, the amount of people that wanted to get involved in that day and support the women was just absolutely incredible. So I think it's a combination. It's not, you can't say it's just one thing. And I still think there's a lot to be done. because we had players like Sinead Harries, fantastic number 8. I mean, she's my first name on the team sheet. She's brilliant, but she's not contracted because she earns more money as a teacher than she can being a professional rugby player. And it's not a case of her being, monetary. It's a case she has a mortgage and she has to pay her mortgage. So, there is still room for improvement in regards to contracts and supporting certain players. But all these little things, all these little changes, really the past year and a half have led us into where we are now, which is not the shiny polished article, but it's a progressive movement.
And you can see the difference. I went to both the England and Ireland games, and it was just phenomenal. I say the atmosphere. It was like I took my daughter and my boy and my wife. We all went together. The atmosphere was fantastic. It was family friendly, and it was just we were all screaming. I mean, we were top of the voices. And obviously the crowd improvement from the Ireland on to the England game again. It was huge, but you could see the difference then. Obviously, Wales now becoming professional. So we had Christy Haney on the pod the week prior to the Ireland game. And she was saying, they're still getting there. They're hoping, with Ireland, they're hoping to have now a fully professional squad by, I don't know, in the next 6 to 12 months. But you can see the difference, can't you? That by having that extra time together, it just makes huge strides for the game. And I thought I heard the other day that Scotland, aren't they all fully professional as well, though?
They've just turned, yeah. They
have just turned, okay, yeah. So, it's going forward, and I think it's going forward quick. Maybe not quick enough for some teams, but, I think this Wales team in particular, they've got a lot in them. Like I say, the autumn games there, the World, what's it called? The World
XV. Yeah.
XV,
it's very much a Marmite title, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is at the moment, the women's XV. So there'll be 3 tiers, 6 teams in each tier. Tier 1, which is where Wales are, repeat that again, which is going to be played down in New Zealand. Then there's Tier 2, which is going to be in South Africa. And then Tier 3 will be in Dubai. They're all around the world.
I think I'd rather be in New Zealand, to be honest, with all that hot weather. I wouldn't be able to cope. I've always wanted to go to New Zealand, so it could be on the cards. But like I say, the promotion of the game as well, like I said, when it came to the England game, especially here in Cardiff, it was huge. I don't know what it was like for other areas of the country, but just the feeling around it and the build-up as well, and people were excited about it. And it was just immense.
That's key, isn't it? That's key for the success of the women's game. Those different elements all together, isn't it? It's not just one element. It's like the fact that people are seeing on TV that atmosphere. Like you were there, Carwyn, but I saw the crowds on TV and things like that. As you say, calling their name outside the hotel. The training that's brought a better physicality about the Welsh team, hasn't it? This. That we've seen from the pack and indeed the backs, isn't it, in the midfield and what have you, and all those elements makes it. You were saying just before, Philippa, about years ago just like family and friends that turned up, and now there's crowds of Welsh supporters, not necessarily women's game supporters, but and like Carwyn taking his daughter and her seeing the possibility, this is an actual something I can do.
Yeah, they're idols. These girls become idols to the younger generation, haven't they? Where my girl plays down the road here, they all look up, they all want to play for Wales, and the girls' game is growing, absolutely growing hugely. Sorry, in well, I don't know about the west of Wales or north, but certainly within the southeast of Wales, it's huge.
Oh yeah, no, I think the numbers they're recording are going through the roof, which is brilliant, and I love seeing it at all different ages as well. My favorite, I must be honest though, is like under 7s or under 10s. Playing, boys and girls are all playing, and there's just no being a boy or a girl. It's just we're all here, we're all rugby players, and we just play. That's my favourite. I mean, I know you have to split off and they have to go separate at a certain point. There's some part of me is a little bit gutted about that. I just love the fact that they just don't see any difference at that age,
That's it. So like my daughter now, she's 12 in August, so next year she can't play with the lads in school.
There you go,
and she'll be moving up to the under 14, so she's only just started playing under 12s. She got a few games over the summer and bang into the under 14s. And there's some big bruises in those under 14s, I can tell you. But she's looking forward to it.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah.
So it wasn't that long ago that you actually retired from the game, Philippa. So do you regret it? Do you think that there could have been a few more seasons left in you, or did you know it was the right time to go?
I think I was pushing it when my last season, to be honest. No, I was very lucky. I had a real long career, longer than I ever thought. To be honest, I never even thought I'd play for Wales, let alone have the longevity of career that I did. So no, it's 2018, and it was the Commonwealth Games. That's what we were training for. And I said, look, if I can get there, then that would be it. Because I was 34, and playing sevens in your 30s is a whole other level. It hurts at the best of times. I was like, what am I doing? Most people, when they come towards their retirement, they just move closer to the pack. Do you know what I mean? Start going into the front row. No, I decided to take up sevens. Ridiculous. But no, I got there, and unfortunately I actually had an injury when I was there, so I didn't even get to play in the tournament. Yeah, it was just a real shame, but I was there. I got the whole experience, and it was kind of, at the time it was really, really difficult because I trained for so long to get to that one tournament. But then after a couple of weeks of sort of processing it, I realized that it's not actually ever about the tournament or the game. It's the journey you go on towards those games and those tournaments. That's the most memorable part, and that's the part that no one can ever take away from you. No injury can take away from you. And I still had all of that. And I don't think I'd ever been the type of person that would have walked away from the game, because I just love it so much. I always had a head so inquisitive to learn and a heart so passionate to play. Whenever I'd walk on the training field, I just feel like a kid again, just with the ball, kicking it and running around. I just loved that. It was so encompassing that I thought I would never walk away. So the fact that my body said, actually, Phil, you've given enough now, like we need a rest, was kind of the best way for me to be able to step away from the game.
And you've made an excellent transition into commentary as well now.
Oh, thank you.
So what would you say is that your favourite game to have commentated on so far, and who is your favourite co-commentator?
Oh God, they're just too big. Throw them out there.
Yeah.
Lord. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, you know what? Actually, for the sentimental side of it, with the Commonwealth Games in 2018 being my last tournament as a player, last year I then got asked to commentate on the Birmingham Commonwealth Games sevens, and I actually got to commentate on the women's final, which was just amazing. I mean, you're literally talking to the world when you're commentating on a global tournament like that.
Yeah.
And the fact that 4 years ago that was my last tournament, and then all of a sudden now I'm in such a privileged position now talking about the game, was just amazing. And it just sort of highlighted, like the chapters in your lives, how as amazing as that current chapter might be, if that door does shut, you never know what the next chapter could be and how exciting and amazing that could be, So I think for the sentimental side of it, and it was just a brilliant game, it would have, that was my favorite game so far to commentate on. And to commentate with, you know what, Eddie Butler, hands down.
Yeah, fair play.
I know. When I first started, because I started during the 2019 World Cup commentating, so I was kind of thrown straight in there. And there's like Sam Warburton, and Gareth Anscombe was injured, so he was around a lot. I was meeting all these like big names, like Johnny Wilkinson, Clive Woodward, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, like who's the one that's made you go like, oh my God, that's ... I said, you know what? It was Eddie Butler, because every game I remember watching as a kid, all the big games, it was his voice. You heard his voice. All those amazing moments, it was his voice. And then to be sat next to him as someone who I felt very, amateur, like I'm just learning, I've just started, and oh my God, I'm sat next to the man who's seen every great game ever, called every great game ever. And he was so lovely and just so nice and so genuine and wanted to know about me and my family. And he was just so lovely.
Fair play.
All the commentators, right? They've all got these notes, and some of them are insane. I mean, talk about like tiny writing and lines and so much stuff. Eddie Butler, would get the team sheet, he'd put it in front of him, he'd fold his arm like this, hold the mic, he'd lean back in his chair, and he'd just call the game. He would just watch it as if he was sat in his armchair. It was amazing. Yet his lines, the way he would describe things.
His command of language was awesome, wasn't it?
His language was unreal. And I remember he said that to me once. He said that, in rugby, you'll find that, there's a lot of things that happen a lot in a game, and you might find yourself describing something the same way. Basically, we all have preferred language for certain situations. And he told me, and I went and did it. He said, think of like tackle, speed, aggression, defense, whatever it might be. Write all those words out. And he said, then Google all the different types of ways you could describe that situation, all the different words you could possibly think of. And you print it off and take it with you. And every time I'd go and commentate, I would look at these words and think, right, okay, I want to try and get a variety of language in. And that was what good old Eddie Butler taught me. So, yeah.
Oh, fair play.
Yeah. Six Nations isn't the same without him, is it?
No.
It really isn't.
It's fantastic to hear these stories as well. Thank you, Philippa.
It is,
For fans like us.
So I know we're running short of time, Philippa. So I just wanted to ask you, obviously, there was a lot of stuff that went on in the early part of the season within the women's game and women in general inside the WRU. And that for me was a bit of a turning point for the women's game. I know it's a horrible thing for people to have to go through, but it did seem to kind of galvanize people around the women's game, and we got a bit more kind of protective about the women's game, if that makes sense. How do you think that has kind of affected the game and the WRU, and how do you hope it kind of changes things going forward now?
It was such a sad time, wasn't it? And even, I was involved for nearly 10 years, and I saw many things that I wish I didn't have to see. I experienced many things I wish I didn't have to have experienced. But even when I saw that BBC documentary, I was shocked as to the level that it went to. And it was really difficult, for the girls at the time, because they're trying to be professional athletes, and the one thing you're supposed to do as a professional athlete is purely focus on the job in hand. But equally, I think it almost gave people maybe a bit of an insight into when the women have spoke out before and said, we're not getting much funding, we're not getting much support. When you then see something like that comes out, you think, oh, actually, yeah, I bet they haven't for a long time, and why aren't they? And I think that did make people a little bit more understanding to them then getting more support, especially at a time when you think, all the regions are struggling financially, the WRU is struggling. For them to then come out and say, okay, we're giving money to the women's program, there could have been a big backlash there. There could have been a lot of people going, whoa, why are we doing that? The regions are dying, But I think because people realized how poorly it had been invested in, or just hadn't been invested, hadn't been believed in, hadn't been taken seriously, I think that also then helped the women to transition into more support and more professionalism. And there's still a lot of work to be done. I will say that. I'm really looking forward to the announcement of the new board members. I'm hoping to see some genuine people involved there that really want to make a change. And you just got to hope that we just never have to go through that again, because there's such a proud rugby nation. It's not just the men and the boys that are the rugby fans, it's the women and the girls as well. And
absolutely.
They all deserve to be supported, So, yeah, real sad times, but we just got to hope now that everyone channels that into a really positive way. And, I've only met Nigel Walker on a handful of occasions, but he seems to be a really genuine guy. I have no reason to believe that he's not going to follow through on what he's saying that he will. He certainly has followed through on everything that he promised to do when he first came into his position. So let's just hope that continues.
Absolutely. Credit to Nigel Walker as well, because I know he's getting a lot of stick, but to be fair, he brought in the contract. I think he's done really good for women's rugby, hasn't he? I think you've got to give credit where it's due. I know you're just hoping we can continue and improve.
And win next year's Six Nations.
Really?
No, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And England be stopped though? I don't know. They're just too good,
Well,
though,
I tell you what,
Philippa, you know,
the
they're
first half,
incredible.
The first half against England, I tell you what, Wales were right in it, all the way up there, and then England scored, just before half time, and it sort of turned it. But the ferocity of the Wales girls, their tackling, their line speed was just great to watch. It was better than watching the men's rugby, to be honest. I absolutely loved it.
Against France as well, isn't it? What typified this season for me is against Italy is Carol Thomas. Came off the bench, and Wales sort of relieved the kick. They were defending their line, made the kick. The Italian player caught it, and the first one up to tackle was Carol Thomas. I just thought that typified the effort through the entire season, including against those sides like France and England, isn't it? Where Wales, through large portions of both those games, showed a lot of mettle and showed a lot of what they could do as well. Yeah.
So, final question then, Philippa, because I know you've got to shoot. Who were the players who were the Welsh women's players that we need to watch out for over the next 12 months? Who's going to be the name on all of our lips?
Ooh, well, the name probably already on your lips, Cecilia Tuipulotu. I mean,
she's great, isn't she?
Oh, she's a superstar, and she's only 19.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So she's just going to be amazing.
She was named in the tournament. She was the only Welsh girl named in the tournament team.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well deserved too.
Well deserved, and that's a real evolution of the Welsh women's game. Is these front rows, Gwenllian Purse as well. The ball carrying options they give, the mobility, the handling, just fantastic. So already, keep your eye out on her. You know what? She hasn't had her chances just yet, but I am really hopeful for Lleki George. She's a fly half, plays Gloucester Hartbury, very much the understudy to Eleanor Snowsill, who's the current fly half at the moment. But Llekie's only in her 20s. She should be the future fly half for Wales. It's taken a bit of time to find her feet. She's a very off-the-cuff 10, which is brilliant at club level. Where you play a little bit more reactional rugby, but obviously internationally you do need a bit more structure. So she's still sort of finding her feet with that. But keep an eye out for her, Lleki George.
Cool, fantastic.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for tonight, Philippa, because I know you're incredibly busy, flying in various different parts of the world, and none of us are jealous about that at all. But just wanted to say thank you for your time this evening, because you've been fantastic. And anytime you want to come back on, drop us a line. You know where we are. We'd be more than happy to talk to you. Not even rugby, just anything else.
If I bump into you again, I'll buy you a coffee rather than harass you.
I want a pint.
I'll have a pint then, yeah.
Good God. No, that would be wicked, guys. Absolutely. I'll come back on again. That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Have a great evening, guys.
Take care.
Bye. Yes. Bye now.
Bye.
Wasn't she good? Excellent.
Very good.
It's fantastic. Any story that starts with Eddie Butler is just pretty fantastic.
That's a great insight, isn't he? Just leaning back.
You can picture him doing it, can't you?
Yeah. And then just like go find some descriptive words so you're not repeating yourself. I like that.
Yeah. So fantastic. And you got to be honest. I know we've done a kind of like a detailed kind of game by game assessment of Cardiff and the Ospreys and what have you. But if we did that for the women's game, the change in performance from the start of the season to the end of the season would just be massive.
Huge. I'll be huge.
Massive. And and I think a lot of credit as well needs to go to the coaching team, because up until the last couple of years, the Welsh women's coaching team has been, you go in, you do a season, and then you move on to the men's game. Do you know what I mean? It's been very rotational. So to have a bit of stability there now has been fantastic. So, right, let's move on to a bit of news. Anybody seen anything happening this week?
Quiet week, really, wasn't
it? Quiet week again.
Funny. Go on. I'm not. I saw obviously the news about Tips retiring, bit of a shock, for international rugby. Glad he's going to stay with the Ospreys and have, maybe 1 or 2 seasons full time with us, which is great. But I'm sitting there and I'm looking for, I get a text from my nephew. I thought he was winding me up. He said, Alan Wynne-Jones is gone. I said, I think you find that's Mr. Tipprick, sunshine. and then he sent me a picture and I was like, look on Twitter. And I know it's Instagram. And I was on Instagram and I was like, no way. Absolutely couldn't believe it.
It was
couldn't
shocking.
believe it.
It's sad. It does bring down a curtain of an era, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It was shocking, wasn't it? I mean, the Tipuric news came out first, and I think that was the most shocking because nobody saw that coming at all. That was completely out of the blue. And his statement was a little bit vague as to why he was deciding to retire. Well, don't forget, it's 4 months out from the World Cup. And I know that people have said
he's still
he's
injured.
Carrying an injury. Yeah, he was carrying an injury that he sustained against Saracens in the Heineken Cup.
That's right.
But I mean, whether he would have been fit or not for the World Cup, I mean, that hasn't really been clarified. But that was a shocker.
Yeah.
And then,
Alan Wynne-Jones,
Alan Wynne-Jones, and he's still what the hell's going on?
Yeah, Alan Wynne-Jones still contracted to the Ospreys at the end of October, I think it is. So I don't know. I was just reading about it today.
He's the last. He's the last of the what used to be the centrally contracted players, and the central contract players went from World Cup to World Cup.
Yeah,
and that was his agreement, which is a bit bizarre, but that's why he's got that one that runs till October, till the World Cup final, and World Cup. That's the end of his contract. It's
but both great servants to Wales and the Ospreys. Absolutely fantastic, and the achievements of both. For the clubs, for the Ospreys, Wales, the Lions. Fair play.
What's your favourite moment from them? Would you choose a moment? I tell you what, I saw this fantastic meme once a couple of seasons ago. I think it must have been around the time we last won the Grand Slam. And it's got Alan Wynne, circled by all the Welsh players, and, with his finger out and pontificating sort of thing. And it said, when you try and find a partner, try and find something that looks you like the Welsh team looks at Alan Wynne.
Love it.
Yeah.
There's lots of great moments from them, but obviously it was his debut match against Argentina there with Ian Evans. But then going to the more recent game in the autumns when he had a storming first half or storming game against Australia, when he's flying through the 22, ball in one hand and offloading, just fantastic.
But that's why I think it's probably the right time for him to go. Do you know what I mean? What you don't want to do when you're that good a player, like Shane Williams chose when he was going to finish. Yeah, Alan Wynne-Jones has chosen when he's going to finish. And you get to that bit where you always just want to be, I probably had 1 or 2 more games left in me. I probably could have had 1 or 2 more, and then I'd have started going downhill. Do you know what I mean? If you're leaving when you're still at that bit where you can earn your place in a national side, then,
put it on top.
Yeah. And so few players get to do that, and some of the greatest players that we've had do just go on a bit too long, and they have that last season where it just kind of, the memory that you have, you've got to go back a few years.
And in fairness, there's a lot of competition for the second row now in the World Cup squad. I think there's another 7 or 8 players within the squad vying for those second row positions now. And they are younger, and some of them are playing really well. Like Dav Jenkins there for Exeter as well. We've got Will Rowlands to come back. Corey Hill, possibly. There is there's lots of competition there.
We talk about the timing, it's the right time, but let's be honest, this was a shock because it was the timing of these announcements. Because the narrative was that Alan Wynne-Jones, the World Cup was going to be his swan song, along with the likes of Justin Tipuric, Ken Owens, Rhys Webb, etc.
Yeah.
And to do it was just on a random Friday afternoon, just 4 months out from the World Cup. It took everyone by surprise. I mean, I'm still shocked about it now. And I just wonder, I've seen people say, oh, well, I think they knew they weren't going to be in the squad. Gatland's probably told them they're not going to be in the final squad. And I think, well, okay, if that's true, why call them up to the squad in the first place? You won't call them up. You would have those conversations before you announce the squad. So it seems very peculiar to me. I do think there's more to this of ECI.
Yeah,
I'm still in shock.
I don't think either of them are being replaced in the squad either.
Because
it was going to get whittled. It was going, like you said, it was going to get whittled down to 45, I think.
That's right.
Imagine being Thomas Young. Imagine being Thomas Young sitting at home and going, "I've just had the call. Tipperick's out the squad. Hang fire. I'll get my boots." No, we're not replacing him.
It's a real shame. It's a real shame, Navis, because he deserves an opportunity. And I did put that on Twitter during the week. If any player deserves an opportunity, even if he doesn't make the final cut, he just should have had that opportunity to prove himself in camp. And it's a real shame about that, actually. But Gatland obviously feels he's got enough alternatives there not to call up, somebody else. And it is a pretty big squad, isn't it? So we'll just see how it goes. But I just want to go back to Alan Wynn a minute, right? Because I don't like comparing players from different eras. You know what I mean? Because it's totally different comparing players from the amateur days to the pro days. And, Gareth Edwards is probably Wales's greatest ever rugby player. That's what a lot of people would say. And okay, fair enough. But I would say for me, from my generation, Alan Wynn is the greatest Welsh player for my generation. I think he's up there with the likes of Gareth Edwards and Phil Bennett and Barry John and all the other Welsh greats. He is right there up there with him. Brilliant player. And we will miss him.
Certainly miss his leadership.
Definitely.
Gareth Edwards was asked last week, didn't he? He said, if you took the team from the 60s and you played them against the current setup, what would the score be? And he go, we'd probably scrape it by 3 or 4 points. And he go, 3 or 4 points? Is that all? He said, well, we're all in our 60s and 70s now, aren't we?
And I think Tippett's going to be missed as well, mind. I still think Tippett would be missed.
He's a legend of the game as well. He's just
we have got
St. Thomas Warburton, wasn't he?
Absolutely, but we have got good back row depth in Wales. I mean, that is the one advantage, whereas block is a little more difficult. But Justin Tippett has a skill set that no other back rows in Wales has. Yes, he may not be as strong at the breakdown as Sir Tommy Raffel, Jack Morgan, etc. But his pace, his footwork, his skill set is completely different, and he will be missed. And I definitely do believe he would have been in that final cut. For sure. He definitely would have been it, because him and Alan Wynn would have been contenders for the captaincy. There's no doubt about that.
Well, maybe it's just quite a selfless act, actually, by both of them. They've withdrawn from the squad. There's other lads in now having the opportunity, another 10% chance opportunity to get into that final squad and play at their first World Cup. And then next 4-year cycle, they're going to have that experience going forward. So... yeah,
but so much experience has been lost. I mean, they had 265 international caps between them. That's a lot of experience. That's a loss of leadership in that group. I'm not saying Alan Wynn would have made the first 15, or he might not even on the bench, but he's the kind of guy you want in camp, isn't he? Just for leadership and morale and experience.
Nothing's been said. He might still go. He might still go within that
maybe,
role.
I suppose, yeah.
Well,
possibly.
That's what Ireland did with Paul O'Connell, isn't it? Soon Paul O'Connell retired, and 2 seasons later, he's back in the Irish setup. Is he forwards coach or is he line out coach or so? But he's basically, he just winds them up. But they haven't lost his influence on the squad, and that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Alan Wynne-Jones go into the World Cup. I think Tipperick will come back and coach. He'll be involved in coaching academy at Ospreys. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that as his next step. And I think Alan Wynne-Jones will, just from a mental point of view, just having somebody that's saying, right, okay, when it's getting crazy, when it's getting saying, a bit crazy, and just stop, think, look,
Carwyn touched on it earlier, mind. If I was an Ospreys fan, I wouldn't be too disappointed, because you got Tipperick now all season to yourself, and provided he stays fit, that's a big boost to have him available all season.
Oh God,
for the Ospreys. So
definitely,
I think I'm more upset, not the loss of players, sort of, just the bringing down the curtain on that era, sort of thing. We going back what they used to say about the 70s, isn't it? I was there, sort of thing. Like we saw Alan Wynne in his pomp, and we saw Tipperick, his skill sets at Tipperick. I'm just remembering some games where he was catch the ball by his ankles, put in deft passes. outspoken, cover defences like nobody's business. And I think
Dummy and Mike Brown on the way to Parsons.
Oh, he was superb against England 2013, setting a Cuthbert for those 2 tries. He was absolutely superb. I think that's my favourite Justin Tipuric moment in the Welsh shirt, the way he just made Mike Brown and other England players look very silly. Brilliant.
That was immense.
Player. Yeah.
And then give, wasn't it? Oh,
he's a very talented player. We're going to miss him a lot. But like I said, I'm still in shock. I am still in shock because this was not how we were supposed to be. You know, we were supposed to have seen these guys retire at the World Cup with the likes of Ken, you know, etc. And that's how I thought it was going to be. And I do think maybe it's just me feeling this. I feel it's very low key. For 2 greats of our game, it's a low key way to bow out. Personally, you know,
it goes into my Friday afternoon 3 o'clock theory, because this is the 3rd week on the trot now where we get announcements on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock or 3:30, 4 o'clock. I've stopped shopping. Normally I'm shopping at that time on a Friday. I do my weekly shop. I've stopped shopping just so I can keep an eye on Twitter. But it does feel a bit like someone's gone, Friday, 3 o'clock, I'm knocking off. Have I sent all my emails? Oh no, there we go. Send all my emails and everything. Do you know what I mean? And if I was
carry on, mate.
If I was the Ospreys, I'd be livid because, when you've got 2 of the key players in your club making massive announcements like that, you do want to be there. You want to be a part of that announcement. You want to be a part of the. But those announcements came from Tipuric and Alan Wynne-Jones themselves. And then they were shared by the club. So, I think you're right. It should have been a bit more, not stage managed, but it should have been given.
You'd like to give them a proper send off, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
the World Cup would have been the best time to do it because that's the stage. That would have been the final curtain. And like I said, for me, it does feel low key. But you're talking about Friday afternoons because, of course, we had the news, didn't we, about Tipuric? Then we had about Owen. And then the Dragons had to get in on the act. They didn't want to feel left out. And they just announced right out to the blue that JJ Hanrahan, who was under contract, he's gone. He's left. He's gone to Connacht. I tell you what is interesting. Yeah, he's gone to Connacht. So it's no secret. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's no secret that JJ Hanrahan was on quite a lot of money at the Dragons. He was on a pretty good wedge. And when I looked at the statement on the website, Dave Flanagan's paying, tribute to him, wishing him the best. But this is what he said. An opportunity for JJ to return to Ireland has arisen, and following conversations with him, and listen to this bit, and taking into consideration the current climate in Welsh rugby, we have chosen as a club to help facilitate the move. So that sounds to me like, listen, Connacht that's sniffing, we need you off the wage bill, mate, because you're costing too much. And it will free up budget.
Yeah.
It will free up space in the budget. But I have heard on the grapevine that we have been in talks with Rhys Patchell. So don't be surprised if you see another ex-Scarlet turning up at the Dragon. Sorry, Rhys. Well, there's no guarantee we'll sign him. There's no guarantees we'll sign him, but we have been in talks with him apparently. So we'll see how that goes because there's a new recruitment policy now that Ronnie Parade. You've had to have played for the Scarlets. If you're not ex-Scarlet, you don't get signed. So that's the new policy we're going for now. So we're turning into a Scarlet speed team. But we have been talking to Rhys Patchell. But that was another boat out of the blue. It was just so much going on Friday. My head was fried.
Yeah.
Just touching again, sorry, with Alan Wynne and Tips now leaving the Welsh squad. Remember 2011, we went down to New Zealand with a very young squad. And that squad got to the semi-finals.
Yeah.
So anything's on. Anything's on.
As I've always said, we're on the right side of the draw.
Yeah.
And that's really important. So if we get our act together, and we've always said the longer one Gatland has time to spend with the players, the better we become in camp, become tighter. And, we can go far. I actually said to my brother on the weekend, I said, we could go to semi-finals. And he laughed. I said, no, we could. We generally could get to the semi-final. I'm not saying we're going to win it because that'd be stupid. But I do think we're going to surprise people. I agree with what Dan Bigger said. Dan Bigger said, we're going to shock a few people. And I believe him. I think we can, provide in mind we do get our shit together.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing will be how many, because there's a relatively short period between the end of the World Cup and the start of the Six Nations. And if you take players coming back from the World Cup have 4 weeks off, I think it is, before they start playing again. So they're only really going to be November, December. They might have 3 or 4 games before we go into Six Nations. I just wonder how many of those players are going to retire after the World Cup. Genuinely go, right, okay. People like Dan Bigger, Sheriff, Legit,
yeah. Oh, there'd be a few. There'd be a fair few.
Anscombe,
yeah. Definitely.
There's a lot going. So the one player that we mentioned earlier that and we've spoken about this before is Corey Hill. So Corey Hill has announced this week that he's leaving Japan. And so the headline in Wales Online was Wales regions on alert. I don't think they were. But, our general consensus was that none of us really wanted him because of the baggage that comes with him.
Yeah.
Are we still feeling that way?
So the report said that there were 2 Welsh regions that were interested in him, but they didn't name those teams. I've said it before, I don't want him back at Ronnie Parade. He left the Dragons under a cloud to begin with. If you remember, there was a whole thing with Cardiff and the WRU, their own Dragons, were complaining to the WRU about how that move was sealed. So there was all that going on. And obviously that incident we've talked about, trashing a single mother's home like that, it was really unsavoury. And I don't want him back at Ronnie Parade, to be quite frank. But also, I don't think it's good for the regions because you sign him, you bring him back to Wales. But if he's going to be involved with Wales, you got to pay the full wages now, mind. You're not getting.
Yeah, well, Cardiff are lucky because they can't afford anything, so he won't be going there. No.
Yeah,
I could see him going to the Scarlets. I could,
but there's nothing is completely true.
Yeah,
I could see him going to the Scarlets or West or to the Ospreys. I mean, you're losing Alan Wynne. You bring in Corey Hill. Difference is, what's
going as well.
It's the wages. Bradley Davis, yeah. So I could see him easily going west, but I certainly don't want him anywhere near Ronnie Parade. And it's not for rugby because I think he's a really good bloke. It's just morally, no. Yeah. I don't like the fact he's playing for Wales, quite frankly.
Well, so Scarlett have been looking for a second row, someone to replace Jake Ball since Jake Ball left, basically. And any time there's a second row available, it's like Scarlets are in the hunt or whatever. And I'm the same as you, Jim. I'm thinking, do you know what? There's a price worth paying to not have him there. I don't mind if we've got to keep developing our own players rather than pull him in. And for exactly the same reasons. It's the off-field baggage.
Yeah.
But just kind of drags around with it. The fact that we're talking about that now, and that was 2 years ago he left? Was it 2 years? 18 months, 2 years ago? That's still in our heads. And that's still in lots of people's heads about this is what's happened and this is the baggage that he brings with him if he comes back. That's not going to go away.
No, it's a shame because he's a really good rugby player. I as a rugby player, I like Corey. I liked him at the Dragons. He was really good for us, in fairness. But like you said, the off-field baggage, and it wouldn't be a good move PR-wise because you're going to get a lot of disgruntled supporters, saying, well, I don't want him at my club. And I'm sure their supporters at each 4 regions going, no, I don't want him. And you got to think, do the club really need that negativity?
He'd probably go to France. I think they'll probably go to France because, like I said, he's over the cap threshold now to play for Wales. Yeah. And you've got to go where the money is as well.
And they don't care.
No. And you'll bring a big wage bill as well, won't he?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because the union aren't paying in now, you'd have to pay full whack for him and he'll be away with Wales. And that's not good business for the regions right now.
No. Not at all. So speaking of good business, did you see the announcement from Oil for Wales today?
I did, yeah.
So Oil for Wales they've not pulled out, but they're not going to engage.
Suspending.
Yes,
they're suspending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to be involved in sponsorship or anything like that for the foreseeable future until
was it just the Scarlets they were sponsoring?
Oh.
No, all of Welsh Rugby. They sponsor all 4 regions and the community game. They're a big sponsor of Welsh rugby as a whole.
That spoiled my next line. I was wondering. I thought it could be turkeys for Christmas will be the next sponsor for the Scarlets. I don't know.
I mean, they were Scarlet's main shirt sponsor, wasn't they?
Yeah.
Oil for Wales. So, it's a big blow.
To be honest, quite a lot of us are not happy with the logo that Oil for Wales have.
It's huge, isn't it? It's so big.
Yeah, and it doesn't fit with the like the old 3 feathers with it doesn't fit with the modern kind of Scarlets ethos. So I maybe a bit of time out and then coming back in with a new logo and a new setup might do them a power of good on that. But I think it's just indicative of where the game still is. There's so much, everything's kind of gone quiet now, and those issues haven't gone away. The money, the sexism, the 3 people at the top of the WRU are all going. But
we're only at the start, isn't it? We're only in the infancy of the new the new world order, so to speak.
The new world order. But you'd have hoped something would have been in place by now. You'd have hoped that there'd be an update on who's coming in as chair, or who's coming in as what restructuring there's going to be. There's the rumours about the Super 8s, but there's nothing confirmed. There's a lot of confirmation inside of the regions that this is what's going to happen, but there's nothing externally saying, right, this is what's going to happen and when. So you'd hope that somebody would get their arse together and kind of sort some stuff out. Or maybe they're just waiting for Friday, 3:00.
Maybe.
Well, so before I forget, we've mentioned Llandovery beating Cardiff last night. I'd like to say a huge congratulations to Neath on going back up to the Premiership after all the financial turmoil that's been at the club over the years. Super
and Pontypool. Neath and Pontypool promoted.
Yeah.
And I think Pontypool went unbeaten up until last week. I can't remember who they were playing, and they'd wiped everybody aside all through the season, and they were putting people away for fun. Last game of the season, and they're trailing, and with 5 minutes to go, they're trailing by I think it was 3 points or whatever. And they're in their own 22 and they're under the cosh, and people were like rubbing their hands and all this kind of stuff. And then it was like penalty, bang, try under the post. Thank you very much. And it was, if you're a Ponty supporter, it's fantastic. Perfect end to the perfect season sort of thing.
Good on them, because they have been screwed, haven't they? Like, they've been denied promotion so many times. They had that playoff with Cleffley, as you remember, Lee, and then there was big controversy because they brought in a load of Scarlet players, didn't they, if you remember, and that didn't go down well. And I'm pleased for them. I'm really pleased for them. But can we just go back to the Oil for Wales thing? Because it is pretty important, right? What I liked about the statement, you read the statement, it's not subtle at all. Like, they've gone in two-footed, haven't they? And, when the Principality put out a statement saying they were concerned, it wasn't quite as... they were very careful with their words. But
they were diplomatic.
They're saying, we're suspending any future sponsorship with immediate effect until transparency is apparent and issues are resolved by the WRU, especially with the funding issue surrounding the regions. So that's an open attack on the WRU. It's embarrassing for them. And it's not good for Welsh rugby if we're having prominent sponsors like All for Wales pulling out. But on the other flip of the coin, maybe this is what we need to actually facilitate change in the top.
That's it. It could be the kick up the arse.
We need sponsors, and it's going to damage the pro game. It is going to have a knock-on effect. But maybe we need more sponsors now coming out and saying, no, this ain't good enough. Things have to change. Maybe that's the only way we can bring about change at the top.
Like real lasting change, yeah.
Yeah.
Effective.
Cool.
Okay. So have I missed any other news this week, boys? Has there been anything that's kind of slipped under the radar?
Yeah, TJ Perinara signing for the Ospreys.
No, I come into that bit in a moment.
I was going to mention Richard Holland. I don't know if you saw that today. Richard Holland wrote to supporters, and he says Cardiff Rugby have cash flow pressures. They're desperate for the money to come from the WRU because they signed this new deal all the regions signed this new deal, but there's been no monies from it as of yet. They're still receiving funding from the old deal. And Richard Don has basically come out and said, it's putting cash flow pressure on the company, but we hope to be in receipt of the money very soon. I mean, we know there are big financial problems at Cardiff. Nigel Walker came out and said, the problems are acute at Cardiff. They've long had financial issues, haven't they? If you remember, they couldn't afford to pay the rent at Cardiff Athletic Club and, HMRC stuff. So, more bad news for Cardiff. No sign of what's happening with Dai Young, any resolution. They can't really recruit. Well, they've tried to recruit a South African fly-half that nobody outside South Africa has heard of, but Tina Stabia, but the WRU have blocked it, which is ridiculous, actually, by the way.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous, but it seems like the WRU don't want us to sign overseas players. Because they'll think it'll stop the development of younger players. I mean, this is why I think the JJ Handelhunt thing has come about, mate. Because when I saw that news, the first thing that I thought was this could open a big can of worms now, because you'll have people saying, well, the Scarlet's got foreign locks, they got Lousy and Fafita, and, the Dragons, they're owned by the WRU, they got an Irish fly-half. So, do you know what I mean? It opens up a huge can of worms. But I just think it's really poor by the WRU. We know Cardiff are skint. They haven't got a pot to piss in. They need to recruit smartly. This guy is playing Curry Cup. He would be cheap. I don't know what he's like as a player. I've never heard of this guy, but I saw some South African Twitter people saying that he's pretty decent. He'd be a good signing for Cardiff. But it's just all a bit of a mess, really, isn't it? They should be allowed to sign who they want.
On the South Terrace yesterday, during the Landover game, was talk about Harrison James, who's played the outside half for Cardiff while Dan Fish has been off, possibly making a step up. But on the showing what I saw in that game yesterday, he's got a lot of development left to go, sort of thing.
But this is what annoys me, though, Reece, right? You see so many people on social media, give the kids a chance, just chuck the kids in, it'll be okay. They got to learn, they got to develop. You've got to have experience. You can't just chuck kids into the deep end of pro rugby. They need to be nurtured and properly developed, and it's not going to work at Cardiff. You need an experienced fly-half.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Wales used to do in the 90s, isn't it? Like a wonder kid like Arwell Thomas or Colin Stevens used to turn up. They used to throw them into the Welsh team. They used to get absolutely twatted, and their careers used to go south after that, didn't they?
Yeah. But that's because Arwell Thomas was only 2 piss pots high. I mean, he was like about 4'8". So yeah. Right. I did have something. Oh yeah, right. So we said last week when you two we started, look, because it was a quiet week, to be fair, last week. So we said, well, where there's no rumours, we'll make a few up. So that kind of opened the floodgates on our Twitter feed. So a couple of the favourite rumours through the week. Oh crap! I've got to scroll back a fair bit now. So my favourite one is obviously Louis Rees-Zammit signing for San Francisco 49ers, which I happen to think would be an excellent move. I know he works with
49ers fan, Uli.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so Louis Rees-Zammit works with a couple of NFL speed guys and stuff. So somebody saw it ages ago, and he was walking out of an NFL fitness place or whatever, and it was like, oh, Louis Rees-Zammit is signing for an NFL team and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was a good call. So then TJ Perenara, yeah, that's the one. So what was on that one? So that was I've lost it now. I had it all there, really. Yeah, he wants to play a more attacking style of rugby. So he's going to the Ospreys.
I'm just reading the replies this one year from James, who we had on the pod, the Ospreys fan, and he's saying Cardiff. They're disillusioned with the Cardiff brand, Cardiff Rugby. They're moving to Auckland with a link up with the Blues. To be Cardiff Blues.
Yeah,
brilliant.
It was so Martin Lewis sent us about 20. So Martin Lewis was the one with TJ Perenara, but he also said Cardiff have got a new recruitment policy. Which is basically they've opened a kitchen for the homeless, and anyone that comes in with a pair of boots can have a game.
Oh dear.
I hope that doesn't offend anyone. Well, you're in the wrong place to worry about offending people with that one. So, yeah, and he's tried sending that to like Wales Online and all sorts of stuff. So that'll be good fun.
Do you want to know the best rugby rumour ever? And it was like in the media and everything. It never happened. It was hilarious. Do you guys remember when Bernard Chapman came to the Dragons, his first season? We were linked to signing Quade Cooper. Do you remember that?
Yes.
We were actually linked to Quade Cooper. And I just think it's hilarious looking back, because I don't know if it was just bollocks or whether we did actually speak to Quade Cooper. I mean, it was just nuts, wasn't it? Like, Quade Cooper coming to... Can you imagine if that happened?
That sounds like something blown out of proportion, like he bumped into him on a night out.
But BBC picked up on it. It was in Wales Online, BBC. Yeah. It was all over the place. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah, love it.
Dragons.
Yeah, that was the other one. So Hugh that we had on last week. Who, incidentally, really, really good. Really knows his stuff.
Yes, I did listen. He was good, wasn't he?
Me and Reece were sitting in, and Hugh was saying stuff, and me and Reece are like, I haven't got a fucking clue if he's telling the truth or not, but he's talking a good game.
Very good, very with his stats.
Some good stats.
He really knew his stuff, didn't he? So Hugh says that he's heard a rumour that due to disappointment in on-field results, off-field dramas and poor attendances, Gallagher are all set to walk away from sponsoring the English Premiership and switch to the URC instead. So I think that's one
good shithousery that would, wouldn't it? Gallagher would be sponsoring the URC.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. There's got to be one there with Austin Healey. I'm waiting for somebody to do something with a rugby rumour with Austin Healey, because Squidge is right.
He played fly half, didn't he?
He's on a Cardiff list somewhere then.
The Proctor nice guy Sully RFC wanted to play outside half. We'll give him a go, like it. Yeah. Big shout out to Griff. Yeah.
Oh,
happy days.
Right. On that note, then, gents, I think we're done. Have we got anything else we wanted to cover? I don't think we did.
Well, I just wanted to point out as a last point, isn't it? That in effect, even though we lost Llandudno, we topped the league, Cardiff, just want to say. And obviously we won the Welsh Shield as well. So just want to leave you with that.
And you beat the Sharks. You haven't mentioned that all episode.
And welcome back, lads. Nice to have you back.
Yeah. Cool.
Been a nice sabbatical.
Yes.
Right. We will. Well, I'm gonna go and try some of my peach schnapps ready for next week. I think we'll do that. We'll do next in line is Scarlet. So we'll do Scarlet season next week, and then we'll do Dragon season the week after that. And then we'll do the Wales season the week after that. So
also it'll be the Barbarians versus the World First coming up soon as well.
They're playing Swansea, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're playing Swansea. Yes.
Yeah.
Swansea played against Llandudno North up here on Saturday, just gone.
Yeah.
It was
the thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it was the anniversary of Llandudno North. I think it was 125 years. I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was very good turnout. Apparently, I was working. Yeah.
On that note, then we will call it a night, gents, and we'll do it all next week.
Happy days.
Cheers, one. Enjoy your
Take care.
Take care, boys.
Bye.
No, bye.
Thank you for listening to the Rap Podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed recording it. Please do rate us and tell your friends, as it really helps us to grow and get better. We'll be back next week with more of the same, and until then, enjoy your rugby.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.